A resume is a marketing tool. So maybe you guys have seen business cards, visiting cards. A resume is something like that you provide to somebody else who you're trying to get a job from, or you're trying to get a position from, or maybe you're even trying to get into a university. Traditionally, resume CVs look something like this. So you've probably seen something like this here. So this is a traditional resume. All resumes, all CVs have essential elements. So education, your experience, your skills, and most importantly, your contact information. If your contact information isn't included, it's like a worthless business card. It's worthless. Can't find anything, can't contact you. If I want to hire you for my company, how do I reach you? So your resume, your CV is a way for you to advertise and present who you are, what you're best at, and what your experiences have been. That being said, you don't have to stick with the very traditional format. There are different kind of ways that you can express who you are, your talents, and your experiences. So this is a computer scientist. You can see this one is a little bit more not as artsy as the slide previously. So this is a designer, and you can see that it's color-coded. There's different fruits. This one is a little bit more straightforward, and that is going to have to do with the industry and the field that you're in. Obviously, if you're writing a CV and you're trying to get a position as a researcher with a university, this would be more appropriate. Contact information. Contact information is key. This is clutch. Obviously, your name. Your address is usually important because a lot of employers want to know where you're based, where you're starting from. The next is obviously a telephone number. So how can I contact you? Where are you coming from? Email. Now everything's digital. This is the easiest way to get in touch with people. So having an email that is professional, SmartKetty11 maybe is not the best idea. You want to have a professional address that can represent you. Alongside with that, any relevant links. So you may have an awesome TikTok account where you're doing all of the dances that probably is not relevant to your work or the position that you're applying to. So when you're thinking about the links to include, think about what best represents you for the position that you're applying to. If you're applying to be the head of a dance studio, then maybe your TikTok link would make sense in that instance. But if you're applying for a grant, or if you're applying for a position at a bank, the TikTok link probably shouldn't be on there. Similarly with your social media accounts. If you are an influencer and you have a big following, then yes, you'll want to make sure that those are included. Very clearly, you can see the contact information. It's where your eye goes first. It's in the red circle. So as a boss or as an employer, I don't want to be hunting to find, how do I contact this person? I want to hire them, or I want to give this person a grant. It should be very clear and easy to find. Other essential components besides the contact information is you'll probably see a summary or an introduction. You'll want to think about your experiences. You'll want to think about your education and other extra details. Right off, we can see whoever this person is a digital marketing professional, and there's an introduction that's very clear. Now, what is this introduction that is usually placed somewhere near the top or the first thing that you read? It usually is like the summary of who you are. It is the snapshot of your skills, of any of your experiences, of what you're looking for. Now here, Sheila, that is up here now, you can see the summary of qualifications right at the top. And again, Sheila's address and phone number and email is very visible, but then right underneath you have the summary of qualifications. You will use this summary if you are skilled and you are applying for a specific job or a specific position, and if you have a lot of experience. This kind of professional summary is just like a snapshot of who you are. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys are watching a lot of Netflix, but before you start the series, it'll give a summary of what you're about to get into. Same with a book. On the back, you see a little bit of a clip. Same kind of thing. How do I put the information together? What is most important? What goes first? This really depends on what do you want to highlight? What are the things that are most intriguing about you? What are the things that you're best at? This is the thing that you want to emphasize. And you do that through the way that you place the information. You have history, function, and combo. In a kind of historical resume or CV, you'll be thinking about what is most recent. This is helpful as if you're staying in the same field, if you're going for a promotion, if you want to show progression as a student or a professional. You don't want to use this if you have big gaps between things, if you're changing careers, or if you've changed jobs a lot, because then it looks like you're inconsistent and maybe not reliable. Most people don't like those traits when they're looking to hire, promote, or designate somebody. The other one is function. So this is if you have really specific skills, so maybe you're a developer or a journalist or a designer. If you have employment gaps, so maybe you went a year or two without doing anything, and you kind of want to, for whatever reason, that's okay, but you don't want to emphasize that, this functional resume or functional CV would be a good idea for you. Also, if you're changing jobs frequently, this could be another idea. If you're going for a promotion, if you're entry level, if you don't have a lot of experience, and you don't really have specific skills, this functional resume is not the one that you want to use. This is what I would encourage most people to consider and to look at. So if you're kind of an expert, if you're changing careers, and if you want to highlight skills, you can blend this function and history together. If you are a strict academic and your whole life has been dedicated towards one subject, don't do this combo one. Or if you're very, very experienced, this is probably not the one for you. Or if you're just starting, if you're entry level. This is Eric's. Eric's, you can see that it's visual, but there's also some bullets. It's very easy to figure out who is Eric, what is he doing. You see at the top, there's that kind of subtitle, violinist turned marketer, still a great performer. So even reading that, what do we know about Eric? He's a musician. He's now in advertising. He's creative. And even the way visually this looks, that emphasizes that. It's almost like proof that he is who he says he is. Education is your way that you can showcase your knowledge, your experience, the things that you must say, your school and location. So whether you're at PN campus in Pokhara or TU in Kirtipur, you want to tell your school and your location because a school may have different branches, so the location is important. Your date of graduation or your expected date, so that way an employer or the person who's interviewing you knows, kind of has a timeline of reference. Are you a new graduate? Have you not yet graduated? And then of course your degree. Your degree shows your subject of interest, what you're trained in, what the information you have is from. Once again, it should be very clear to read. You shouldn't have, someone shouldn't be hunting to find where did you graduate from. So here's Jane. You see her education here. She has her master's in science, and it's very clear the school that she went to and when she attended. You can see the dates there. She finished in June of 2016. Now, if you notice, she also put some bullets to emphasize and highlight what she learned in her program. If that's relevant to what you're applying for, you'll want to include that as well. So experience, this is the big thing. Make sure it is relevant. Make sure it is relevant to what you're applying to. So a lot of times when we're young, when we're fresh out of school, we're just taking whatever jobs we can. I scooped ice cream. I was a nanny. I tutored kids, right? So that may not be the experience that I want on every resume moving forward. So you want to think about what are the positions that are helpful for what you're applying to. So think about your duties, think about the responsibilities, the achievements that you've been awarded, and always use action verbs. So action verbs give color, give a little bit of impact to your writing and to your resume. So you could say served, you could say responsible for, you could say duties included, or you can use these action verbs to really emphasize what it is that you did. I expanded the team's capacity for in community engagement. I assembled a new line of products. I volunteered at the old age home. The awards, the publications, the scholarships, any sort of accolades, honors, certificates that you've received that can help you stand out from a crowd. Typically for admissions and for jobs, there are stacks of people applying. And so you want to make yourself seem different or unique. I love Whitney's resume. So it's very clear to find what she's good at, what she wants to pursue, her interests. She's got her website at the top, design entrepreneur seeking creative opportunities. This looks rich. She's got all these different leadership positions. She's listed her technical skills. She's looking for kind of an entrepreneurial area that she can develop and progress in. She's listed her work experience. Now, notice she worked for the swim and tennis club as a team coach. Now, maybe that doesn't have to do with business or with entrepreneurship, but it shows a leadership role. And so you might want to think about that yourself. What are the clubs and what are the initiatives you've helped spearhead, or any sort of activity maybe at your school that you are in charge of managing? That's helpful because it shows responsibility. Customize with style. Now, again, if you're a strict resume, if you're in a very hard science, this might not be applicable. If you're a designer, if you're a marketer, even if you're in sales, you might want to think about the different ways that you can represent yourself. There are a lot of online templates that you can use, and you can type in your information and it'll pop back a resume for you. So the one on the left is basically more sales. The one on the right, this guy is a creative designer, and you can see that, but it looks very friendly, right? And approachable. It's got his image in the middle. We have a graphic designer on the left and a chef on the right, so you can see pastas and tomatoes and things like that. Notice the information is the same. You can find the abilities, the experiences, the skills, the contact in all of these, but the way that they're presented is different because it shows that person, right? So here's another designer. While you're doing this, make sure your font is always easy to read. Do not squeeze the margin so everything's kind of stuck on the page and it's difficult to look at. And do not go below 9 points on the font. Nobody wants to squint and try to, make out what your email address is. Less is more. Numbers can be proof. So if you have concrete numbers of, I manage 9 students in my student union, that can be helpful. If you're applying for a specific job, look at the words that they use in the job description and see how you might be able to sprinkle some of those into your resume or your CV. Proofread, whether it's you or whether you're giving your resume or CV to somebody else to read and look at. You do not want mistakes. Mistakes means carelessness and no attention to detail. And again, if you're trying to separate yourself from other people, you want to make an impression. And your resume, again, is the self-advertising. So CVs are often preferred in academic and research settings. A resume is usually preferred for jobs. Career objective or bio can be helpful if you have a specific aim or a specific focus. If you are just kind of getting your information out there, not necessarily. However, if you want to highlight your experiences, if you want to highlight or emphasize what you're good at or what you're looking for, a career objective is great.